Okay, so in this video today, I'm going to show you behind the scenes footage of one of my live calls in the Agency Guaranteed program. So if you are starting an agency, or maybe even if you already have an agency, one of the most important things you're going to have to understand is service delivery. If you truly understand the strategies that are working right now, if you truly understand how you would set up campaigns for your prospects when you land them as clients, not only is it going to help you to come across like more of an authority figure, come across more confident, but ultimately it's going to help you sell more deals because you're going to truly go into every call knowing exactly what it is you're selling. On the flip side, if you currently run ads, you're a freelancer, you're already an agency and you've got clients, this is going to be really valuable to watch because it's going to show you all the current working things when it comes to delivering Facebook ads. So as mentioned, this is a behind the scenes group mentorship call from my Agency Guarantee program. And in some super exciting news, we are just about to launch the 3.0 version of the program. It's come with a ton of additional benefits, including an exact action plan to take you step by step from 0 to 10K a month in your agency. And to top it off, we guarantee paying clients for all of our students. And if they don't land paying clients, they don't pay us a penny. So if you're interested in applying before the price goes up and the 3.0 program is launched, check out the link in the description. You can jump on a call with my student success manager, Josh, to see if you're a good fit. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so yeah, we're going to do a Facebook ad masterclass. I'm trying to try and cram as much info into this hour as possible. Chat's there. If you have any questions, whack it in chat as we go, and I'll be happy to answer. Just a couple of key things just to start off. So first of all, with regards to the training today, I'm going to go through what's working right now. This may be different to what you've heard before. If you've watched YouTube videos and trainings, some of the stuff may be outdated. Facebook landscape changes very frequently, very regularly. So yeah, this works across 90% of our clients, the strategy that I'm going to go through. I'm going to try and also cover some points. So when you get asked on calls, what is the strategy, or what is your strategy for ads, you can then have answers with what we go through here today. So if you have any questions or need more context around that, let me know in chat. But like I said, we've got a lot to cram in, so I'm just going to jump straight into it. So I've got myself a little test ad account here, empty, spent nothing. But to start with, we'll start on the sort of bird's eye level. We'll start on a campaign level and we'll kind of go from there. So and this is really important when it comes to strategy. I would say universally, almost every client to some degree will use a very, very similar structure here. The only variations are going to be budget variations. So it depends on the budget of the client and repeat purchasability, but I'm going to go into those sort of caveats as we go through here. Top of funnel, creative testing. We've got top of funnel, middle and bottom of funnel, and then post-purchase. So pretty much universally, these are going to be the standard campaigns we set up for every client. The only variations that won't be in every single account, and the only differences will be if we've only got a small budget, we will likely not do a creative testing campaign. And if the product does not have repeat purchase, like we're in discussions with a prospect right now that sells furniture that's £1,000, £2,000, £4,000. How often do you go and buy a sofa and then 2 months later want to spend another £4,000 on a sofa? Not realistic. So likelihood post-purchase campaigns, aka retargeting current customers to buy again, probably isn't going to convert very well. So post-purchase is more so kept for repeat purchasability. Some extreme and perfect examples of this where this completely crushes for our clients. I've used the example before. We've got a client that's an energy drink business. You buy a case of energy drinks. Once you get through those energy drinks, you're going to buy some more, okay? And your best customers are the ones that already buy from you. So those campaigns work really well. Other examples where this can be good is if you've got an e-commerce fashion brand. As you probably know, a lot of fashion brands will do launches in stages. So we've got our summer launch, our spring launch, our Black Friday launch, our New Year's Day launch, all this kind of stuff. So targeting current customers to buy again for new launch products, post-purchase works really well. But again, there's some circumstances on some higher ticket products, on products where you don't need to target to buy again, because maybe it's there's products, certain clients have got like one store products, or there's certain clients that have coaching products where it's like they've got one high-end ticket product and that's it. So you won't use that. But universally, like most clients, you will have a post-purchase campaign involved, okay? And then we've also got here creative testing. So I want to give a bit more context to when I say when budget allows for it. When I say if they've got the budget, what does that mean? Because I know that's a super, like, is 10 grand a big budget? Is 1 grand a big budget? Or is that 100 grand? So for context, when we speak about ad spend and we have clients come to us and say, oh, what should my ad spend be? For the most part, the answer is always, we usually throw it back to the client. But in an ideal circumstance, we say, if you can give us a third of your average order value per day in ad spend, that's really, really like a great start. Now, obviously, this doesn't always work. If you're selling a £2,000 sofa and their average order value is, say, £2,000, and you say, can we have a third of that per day and spend £600 a day? A lot of clients might not have £600 a day to start with their first Facebook marketing budget. But in an ideal situation, we'd say if you can come to us with a third of your average order value per day and spend, that will just allow us to do everything we want to. That will allow us to do our creative testing campaigns. That will allow us to do our top of funnel, our post-purchase, our retargeting, everything all in one. And if you want to find out what the average order value of a client is, you just simply ask them. You know what? No one's going to know it better than them. If it's a Shopify client, if you actually go onto the dashboard inside of Shopify, it'll tell you the average order value. If it's not, just get sort of a rough figure from the client, and again divide that by 3, and that's an optimal daily ad spend. And that's because what that will allow us to do is not only will allow us to set up all of our campaigns and do all of our tests, but it will just allow it to make so all of the ads get enough spend. I see people fall into the traps. You know, they'll take on a client and let's say ad spend is £1,500 a month or £1,000 a month, but they're selling a £2,000 product or a £3,000 product. The problem with that is you run ads for a month, the client's annoyed that there's no sales, but you get a sale on the day 1 of month 2, and let's say it's, I don't know, let's say ad spends £1,000, the product's £3,000. You get a sale on day 1 of month 2, you're at 3x return still. And that's part of the issue. You've got to have a budget that allows you to spend the average order value to see what the return on ad spend is going to be. Because you've got to let ad spend out. You can't let ad spend 50% of the order value, 10%, 20% of the order value and say, oh, it's not getting sales, shut it off. Because that could still be at a 10x, 5x, 6x, 2x if it brings in a sale tomorrow. Okay, so really important to understand spend levels. So in order for this to work, a third of average order value is perfect. But if I'm, anything above sort of 10 grand, 5 to 10K a month for most businesses will allow you to add some sort of creative testing campaign. Okay, really, really important that we do this. And this is why I do prefer to work with clients and qualify them to have that high level of spend. Okay. But yeah, third of average order value, make a note of that if possible. If a client comes to you, what should my ad spend be? Well, what's your average order value divided by 3? That's the optimal spend. If that's not going to work, cool, absolute minimum, £1,000 a month. But again, that's sort of context involved with that. All right. The only other slight difference is 95 times out of 100, we're going to actually combine middle and bottom of funnel. So rather than a middle of funnel campaign and bottom of funnel campaign, we're actually going to put them together. And for context, when I say top of funnel and top of funnel creative testing, what do I mean? Well, top of funnel is, who people that don't know about the brand yet. So just real marketing 101, funnel 101. You've got a funnel like this, okay? You put money in the top and ideal customers come out the bottom. So the top of the funnel, at the top up here, okay? Basically, that's people that just start running ads. They don't really know who you are. The bottom of the funnel, they're a customer. So the further down the funnel, the warmer they are. So top of funnel is people that don't know about you yet. There's new audiences. We're showing it to new eyeballs, new people. Obviously, if we can get profitable on the front end, fantastic, right? Middle and bottom of funnel. So usually middle of funnel is people that have follow on social media, people that have engaged with the ads already. So they know about the brand, they haven't purchased, but they have engaged with the ads. Maybe they've watched some videos, there's video views and stuff like that. And I would even class middle of funnel as web visits, but no further action. So not viewed content added to cart, but just simply web visits. So people have been on the website, but they didn't take any further action. Those are people that know about the brand, they're in the middle of the funnel, okay? And at bottom of funnel is those warmer audiences, people that have viewed certain products, people that have added to cart, people that have initiated checkout, added payment information. Those are your bottom of funnel audiences. Okay, I'll give an example where we don't do that. We recently, about a month ago, landed a big celebrity client, which is really exciting. I wish I could say the name, or a million NDAs signed. But it's for a really huge network, probably one of the biggest clients we've ever closed in terms of like status, which we're buzzing about. The audience size on middle of funnel is so big because they're a celebrity. We've separated them. So bottom of funnel is basically start trials on a website is the conversion goal. So what we've done is people that have added to cart but not started the trial, people that have viewed the products on the website but not yet started the trial, classed as bottom of funnel. And then people that engage with the social media and everything we've put as middle of funnel, but because that audience size is still in the millions of people, there's no need to combine them. You usually want to combine the middle and bottom of funnel when it's like, let's say you've got a client that's got 35,000 web visits a month, a bunch of add to cart sales, all that good stuff. But maybe they've only got 1,000 followers on Instagram. Now, you're not going to necessarily want to create a whole campaign just for the people that are in that 1,000. There's not really much of a point. It's way better to combine that in with a bit of the bottom of funnel audience, have it so it's a combined audience, and let Facebook spend that optimally, because it's going to pick up the sales in here and there, and it's going to spend. So you're going to get way better results doing that. So usually, I would say in the extreme case where you're working with a company that have got either a huge social media presence or a celebrity that's got a huge social media presence or loads of ad engagement, then you don't want to separate. In those cases, you probably would separate the bottom of funnel and middle of funnel. If there's loads of traffic over on the website, loads of warm intent actions, and also big social media presence, then you'd probably want to separate. Okay. But 99 times out of 100, like I said, you'll condense them for most clients. Out of the 70 clients that we've got, I think there's probably 2 clients that we actually separate middle and bottom of funnel. Okay. So that's the structure. And then in terms of creative testing, just so you have an understanding of what that is, obviously top of funnel, I'm actually going to sort of rename this as well, just a bit more clarity. So we've got top of funnel here, and I'm going to put E, and basically the E stands for evergreen. So one key thing when it comes to scaling ads, this is a big issue that people have. And it makes logical sense, right? Things aren't working, things are spending, but it's not getting sales. Let me go in and like change the ads. Well, obviously, if things are generally just not working and it's spent the average order value and all that stuff, then obviously, yes, you need to go in and make changes. But too often people will go in to like currently working ads on a 2x, on a 3x, on a 4x and think, I want to get that to a 7x. Let me go in and play around with it a bunch. Oftentimes, if it's getting sales and it's profitable, the way that you're going to let that get to that higher return on ad spend level and to stay profitable and not mess it up is to actually let it continue learn, let it get more conversions. Don't make any major changes on the ad to reset the learning phase. Learning phase isn't super important. We'll discuss that a bit later. But the point is this is why we separate it, because you're on a sort of, you've got a sort of double-edged thing here in your mind. It's like, well, I want to constantly go in and improve ads. I want to do more tests. I want to improve stuff, but I don't want to play around with what's currently working and what's scaling and spending and working. Because you don't want to think, oh, I want to get this from a 6x to a 6.5 or 7x. Go in, play around with it, and it dropped to a 4x. It's just going to have the complete negative effect. So instead, what we do is we have the top of funnel evergreen campaign, which is where we've got our proven audiences that are winning, proven copies, proven creatives that are getting sales. And that the majority of our budget is going to be on this. We're going to let that spend the money, learn, get more conversions. Then what we do is we have a separate campaign where we do our creative testing, like our tests. And sometimes what we can even do on some bigger spending accounts, like multiple 5 figures a month, or even 6 figures a month, what you'll even do is you'd even create an audience testing campaign as well. So very similar to the creative testing campaign, you have another campaign where you solely test audiences. But then what you can do, for example, inside this creative testing campaign, you keep all other variables the same. It's the same campaign. Then you spend budget on an ad set level, and then you basically target all of the same interest, all the same stuff in all of the different ad sets. And then you basically, the only change is you have one ad per ad set, and in each ad, you have a different creative variation. And the goal in there is to see which one performs. And what's great about this is, like, let's say you test a creative that absolutely does horrendous and it's no sales. Because this testing campaign is going to be on a much smaller budget, maybe it might be 15, 20%, 15, 20-ish% of your total ad account budget. If it doesn't perform and get any sales and it doesn't do well, no problem. You just turn it off and it's only spent a little portion of the budget, compared to you chuck it in over here where 60% of the budget is. And then all of a sudden, what happens is you've spent £1,000 on this creative test in a day and it's got no sales, and you've just wasted £1,000. And you've also reset the learnings because you've added a bunch of tests in. So it's better to separate it. So really, really important. Like I said, on a bigger level, you can do this on an ad variation. So you keep the creative copy the same. You have multiple ad sets with just different variations of ads. And the key for this as well, I don't want to overwhelm you too much, but the key for this is you want these testing campaigns to be on ABO, which is ad budget optimization. That's where the ad spend on an ad set level, rather than putting it on CBO, where the ad spends on a campaign level. And just a quick differentiator there, CBO, campaign level spend, If I chuck this top of funnel campaign here, I put this on £1,000 a day, okay? And let's say I've got 4 ad sets inside of this campaign. Facebook's going to distribute that £1,000 however it thinks best among those ad sets. It might give 80% to this audience up here, 5%, 5%, 10%, right? It will just distribute the spend towards all the ad set however it thinks going to be optimal, which is great for our scaling campaign. We want to let Facebook have as much control as possible. But on the creative testing perspective, we don't want to let Facebook have control. We want to make sure they're all getting fair tests against each other. So what you do instead is you don't put the budget on a campaign level, you put it on an ad set level instead. And then you say, okay, I want you to spend £20 a day, you to spend £20 a day, you to spend £20 a day. You force it to spend, they all spend. You can then look at the results and see, this creative's doing well. The click-through rate here is really high. This is getting sales, great. Or this is dying, we need to shut it off, okay? So it's really, really important that you do that. So just around this first sort of campaign overview funnel structure thing, this is by far, by the way, when you're talking to clients, what we've just gone through there sums up 90% of what you need to discuss when you talk about strategy on a call. Like when you have a client come to you and say, what's the strategy? You don't need to go into too much more detail than what we've just discussed. And if you go into any account and you look, loads of accounts are not doing middle of funnel retargeting. They're not retargeting social media engagers, video viewers, website visits. People aren't targeting add to carts. People aren't doing this stuff. So it's really, really important that you discuss this, so what's the strategy going to be? Well, are you doing any social media retargeting right now? Are you doing any website retargeting? Oh, no, we're not. Great. So first of all, you want to do website retargeting. We want to do, social media retargeting as well as low hanging fruit. We also want to structure the campaign. So you haven't got 100 campaigns in there. We've got 5 campaigns, everything's organized, everything's structured. We've got our creative tests over here. We've got a top of funnel campaign over here that's evergreen, that scales, spends, that works. Then we test on a smaller budget. Then these clients start to say, right, that makes so much sense. No, that sounds great. And then for the appropriate clients, you speak, okay, post-purchase, you retarget current customers on a small budget to buy again. And I think I said in one of the last sessions, our most extreme example of this is we have a client where we turned £200 into £50,000 or $200 into $50,000 on a post-purchase campaign. And it's because it's people that already bought, know who you are. It was on like a couple bucks a day in ad spend. It's only a small audience. It's people that have bought before. It was a few thousand people, right? But because they're so warm and it was a high ticket product, we turned $200 into 50 grand. Low hanging fruit. People aren't doing this stuff. And this is where, if your top of funnel campaign's on a 1x, 1.5x, just about breaking even, but then you've got all of this stuff involved, that's how you get your whole account up from a 1x to a 4x or to a 3x or to a 2x. And that can be the difference between you losing the client and keeping the client, So all extremely, extremely important. So this is what you want to discuss the majority of. Identify, the key sort of action step is identify and find out if they are using this structure. Are they doing creative testing? No. Okay, great. Speak about that. Are they doing post-purchase retargeting? No. Great. Speak about that. Are they doing middle of funnel or bottom of funnel retargeting? No. Great. Speak about that. Do they have a million campaigns set up and it's really messy? Great. Speak about the consolidation, the tidiness, the effectiveness of having a proper funnel structure. Okay. If you do that, we're going to go through some more top 1% stuff in just a second. You're 90% of the way there if you do that, okay? You'll beat out 90% of your competition in terms of your knowledge level and coming across about a strategy that really works, all right? So that's your campaign level. Next up, we'll speak about naming real quick. We won't spend too much time on this. Naming conventions is something that is extremely, extremely important, but also at the same time will not affect results. You could name this campaign 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 12, 11, 100, but if you've got meaning behind that, and you know what that means, cool, you can have your own name. And a lot of people like to do what we do, which is like TOF for top of funnel, MOF for middle of funnel. We even add dates to ours. We've got a very specific way to name, but ultimately the key factor is, and I can go through a session where I speak about all of our specifics. The key thing when it comes to naming is structure it well. And as long as you know and your team know and you're aligned with what everything means and it's well and truly structured properly, it doesn't matter what you name the campaigns. What you run into the issue of, especially when you audit accounts, it will add 1, conversion campaign 2, top 25% of video viewers. And you're thinking, none of this should be named, it should not be named like this on a campaign. Your campaign level, the way that I always see it, is like, imagine you've got your office And then inside of your office, you've got all your equipment. It's like, this is your office. You want to know, okay, over here are my drawers. This is my desk. You need to know where everything is. It needs to be tidy. It's your overarching thing. And then inside of your campaigns, you've then got your specifics, the specific audiences. And then obviously your ads are where the creative and the copy is. So this really is like a bit of an office. It's a folder per se. Okay. And to be fair, even, there's even a little image of it here. Like it's a little folder. It's just a folder where you choose your campaign objective. But besides that, your campaign's not that important. Okay. Besides the campaign objective you choose, making sure you're optimized for the right thing, everything then goes inside of those. And then within that, you've got the ads. Okay. So ad sets are audiences, ads are the actual specific ads that you see. So creative, copy, headline, description, all of that stuff. Okay. So bit of a quick recommendation on that, and then we'll move on. It's not super important. Top of funnel, middle funnel, name them like this. Your ad sets, this is where you want to name your specifics. So it'd be like women aged 16 to 35 interested in KFC. Yeah, specific audience. Then if I click on here, KFC, W for women, 18 to 35, I know exactly what that is. Before I even click on it, I don't have to click on it to then find out what it is, to then see what's working and what's not working. By naming it properly, it will run smoothly. And like I said, it's not going to cost you money per se, but it sort of does in a bigger picture if you're not organized. Let's start from the bottom. Okay, let's start with post-purchase and work our way up. So post-purchase is obviously the warmest of audiences because they're already a customer, you get them to buy again. What does this look like? Very simply, you want to get yourself over to, where are we? To the audiences section. A couple of ways you can do post-purchase campaigns. Basically, the audiences, people that have bought from you. There's two ways that you can do this, both of which are custom audiences. And just for quick context, whilst we're here, what's a custom audience? What's a lookalike audience? So basically, a custom audience is people that have already interacted or engaged with your business. So you can create a custom audience of web visitors. You can create a custom audience of social media engagers. You can create a custom audience of people that have added to cart. You can create a custom audience of people that have purchased. You can create a custom audience of people that have watched more than 25% of videos on your ads. Or you can create a custom audience of people that have DM'd you on Instagram. Basically, it's people that have engaged with you in any way. And there's a million different ones that you can create. And when we get onto our retargeting audiences in a second, I'll show you some of the cool ones that you can do. And then the difference is a lookalike audience. Very simply, we don't need to go too much more complicated than this until we go into it in a bit more detail. It's people that look exactly like a custom audience. So if you've got 100,000 people, web visitors, you create a custom audience. Everybody that has visited my website in the last 30 days, let's say that's 100,000 people, right? That's your custom audience. That's your seed audience. You can then create a lookalike audience, which is where you say, I want you to create an audience of people that aren't those people, that don't know about the business, that are completely cold, but they look exactly like those people. Facebook picks up tens of thousands of data points on every person. That's why when you go onto Facebook now and there's all this data privacy problems, people, oh, I speak about KFC and next minute I'm getting a KFC ad, right? It's data points. So as you can imagine, if you've got 100,000 web visits and you create an audience of people that are cold, that don't know your business, that look just like that, it can be very powerful. But again, that's top of funnel because they're people that look like the custom audience. So they don't know about you yet. All right. So that's the key difference. But if we click on custom audience here, look, there's a bunch of cool different stuff. You can say, I want to create my audience from the people that have been on my website. And then if I click this, and I'll just show you whilst we're here, you can create people that have visited the website, or you could do, you can do people that added to cart and things like that, right? We'll get more onto that in the retargeting audience anyway. Key thing now though, what we want to focus on is the two ways that you can do post-purchase. You got two ways. Number one, you do website, and basically anybody that's fired on the purchase pixel, obviously I've not got the pixel set up here, so unfortunately it's not actually showing any specifics, but usually it would show add to cart in here, it would show view content, any event that you've set up that's fired, lead, purchase, whatever. So one way is you go in here and you click purchases, and you can retarget people up to 180-day period over here on web visit stuff. So basically 6 months, okay? You can target people who've purchased in the last 180 days. The only issue is when you create this audience, it only goes to 180 days. So in terms of the optimal results, this is one way to do it. The optimal results are actually creating a custom audience from an email list, okay? So you're gonna click customer list, and then you can actually upload a customer list inside of here. So you just need to get your clients to provide you with this. there's benefits to both and negatives to both. The downside to a customer list is you could upload a customer list of 10,000 people. All those 10,000 people might not actually match up to users on Facebook. So basically what happens is, if you in order for it to match up, you've got to have the email you signed up to on Facebook match with the one that's uploaded. So like, I've got Bradley@YourMarketingPartners, which is my business email. And then I've also got personal emails. I don't sign up to Facebook with my Bradley@YourMarketingPartners email, but I might sign up to and purchase a product using my Bradley@YourMarketingPartners email. So with that, it might not match the customer data. Now, there are more identifiers here. So you've got city, country, region, zip, postcode, all of which can be downloaded in the CSVs that your client provide. And that may have other sort of like event matching opportunities to match up the person. But basically the key thing is if you just upload all of this, it will just match it, it will find it. And then, yeah, it will basically create a list full of purchases. The other negative to a customer list compared to, say, purchases on Facebook is if you go website and last 180 days, obviously that dynamically updates. So is a 180-day audience, once you set up every 180, well, like every day when you get new sales come in, on the guys that fall into 181 days, they fall out of the audience. The people that purchased yesterday fall into it, if that makes sense. So it just dynamically updates. It's people over the 180 days that purchase. You set the audience up once. The downside to the list is I upload a list today. If 30 days from now, we've had another 10,000 purchases, I've got to re-upload that list. Now you can set up Zapier, you can do certain things, and there's certain automations for you to do it, but you know, swings and roundabouts. Benefits to both. Realistically, if you're just going to create any decent post-purchase campaign, is you just put both in there. If you're unsure, you upload the email list of purchases and you just target these and you just combine them inside of the same stacked audience in your post-purchase campaign. Okay. Couple of cool things you can do with this, though. You can choose a retention stage of this. So you could say, okay, people that have purchased in the last 30 days. And this is where you can get proper ninja with it. Let's say it's David's client that we spoke about the other day that's like sells like food. So it's like chicken and beef and all that kind of stuff. Let's say the average person does a weekly shop. Okay. So if they buy something today, you target them again tomorrow to buy more stuff. They might not buy it. They might buy again in 7 days. That might be the average cycle. So what you could do is you could say everybody who's purchased in the last 180 days, but then you could exclude people that purchased in the last 7. So you can get quite fun with it. You can say, right, I know, like, I've just sold this person a t-shirt. They're probably not going to buy a t-shirt again tomorrow. And I also don't really want to show them that ad tomorrow. It's not efficient with my ad spend, but realistically, every sort of couple of weeks, if they start seeing new products, they're more likely to buy, or maybe every 30 days, whatever, right? You could say, right, exclude people that purchased in the last 14 days, last 3 days, whatever. If there are dates, for the most part, I would honestly just recommend it's just easier to keep this open because the costs are going to be so low for this and the return is going to be very high across the board. But in most scenarios, very, very, very rare that post-purchase campaigns don't perform at all. If they don't, like, the negative effect of having, 7-day people out, it could have a negative effect. So unless it's absolutely a necessity that you exclude people within a certain time frame, then keep them in. Okay, just basically go all purchases in the last 180 days. Okay, so really cool. You set that up, and then just a couple of cool ideas for you. If we go ourselves back over to the ads manager, what you can do then with the copy, you can get experimental. So just for context, you've got to think about customer journey for people, right? When I say customer journey, it's like, you don't want to show the same ad top of funnel that you show middle and the bottom of funnel and post-purchase. You don't want to just show the same ad. You've got to take people through a journey. So it's like, okay, you got to think, what do people have? Like, what objections or what are people motivated by when they've already purchased? Like, what is the incentive? And same, what is the incentive on top of funnel? What's the incentive middle and bottom of funnel? Okay. I'm just going to do a real quick, this will be actually extremely, extremely valuable. I'm worried that I'm not going to get through everything, but I want to give you guys advice. If we have to extend this into 2 sessions, we'll do it into 2 sessions. But so really, really, really key thing is customer journey. Okay. And if you guys want to, this will be really powerful for you to actually discuss in your calls as well. So if you want to make a note of this, it'll be great. So top of funnel, you got to understand you're making people aware of the product. So how do you convert somebody that doesn't know about your business? Well, the key main one is like, what problem does your business solve? Pain solution. That's the biggest top of funnel customer journey. It's like, first of all, make people aware that this product or service solves this major problem that you most likely have. That's why you're being targeted with the ad. So pain solution. Usability is another big one. What does the product do? Make people aware. So this is why you see really well converting like TikTok ads and Facebook ads, people using the products, unboxing the products. That kind of stuff works really well. It's like usability of the product. The main one though, the big one is what problem does your product solve? You can also do like benefit feature stuff as well. That definitely can work top of funnel, but the biggest one is pain solution. That's probably your customer journey right at the top. Okay, people now know about your product. They maybe seen some usability of it. They know the benefits and features. They know the problem that you solve. They're aware. Maybe they've been on the website. What's stopping them from purchasing? This is where you look at your middle and bottom of funnel. So this is where in a middle and a bottom funnel part of the customer journey, what's stopping people? This is where you overcome objections. This is stuff like discount codes, okay? Bit of urgency in a discount code. So that might be, you might overcome the price objection. Okay, so a bit of a price objection. Here's a 10% discount code, take action now. Part of the journey is they wanted to take action, they're interested, they know about it. Now a bit of a discount code can get them over the edge. Another thing might be, does it actually work? Testimonials in the middle and bottom of the funnel work extremely well because they know about the product. Now you're showing them a testimonial of a customer that loves the product, a customer that's raving about the product. That works really well in middle and bottom of funnel because as you can imagine, they already now know about it. They're made aware at the start of the customer journey. Now it's like, look at what our other customers have to say. Okay, really powerful. And then any other objections? So if you know price is one or trust, if trust is one, trust is built by those testimonials. Trust is also built by authority building stuff. So like any PR, like if you've got, I don't know, I know the one that we were speaking about with David the other day, to go back to that one, there was a picture of a famous celebrity chef in the ad. That could be amazing middle and bottom of funnel because it's trust building, right? It's like, okay, you've seen the benefit, you've seen the product. Now it's like, okay, celebrities believe in us, celebrities use our product, featured in Forbes, featured in, this, that, and the other, trust build. And another one is risk removal. 30-day money back guarantee, start free trial. Those are all things that work really well in middle of funnel because it's basically trust building and like risk removal and all that good stuff. So that's the customer journey in the middle of funnel. And then, and bottom of funnel, sorry. And then post-purchase, it's loyalty schemes. It's basically building loyalty schemes and basically just building loyal customers. So we found that works really well is this is where you might promote, I don't know, a discount code for being a loyal customer. So we do this a lot and it absolutely crushes. One of my best ever performing ads when I first started running, we had a client in the beauty niche. So she was a very small, she was like a micro influencer. She had like maybe 10, 15,000 followers on social, quite small. But she had a bit of a personal brand and she released this makeup kit. And we ran an ad that was just very much in tone to her, like the way that she would speak, like, hey girl, hey lovely, like all spaced out, all this stuff. And we just said, thank you so much for being a customer of, I can't remember what it's called, like Bree Beauty or something it was called. Thank you so much for being a customer of Bree Beauty. As a token of our appreciation, I want to give you 10% off your next order. Thank you so much, girl. Something like that it was, right? The return on ad spend on that was ridiculous. It was like 100x ROAS or something ridiculous. It was outrageous, like 50 to 100x it would fluctuate between. And it's because you're calling out an audience saying, and they've already bought from you, then you're saying, thank you so much for being a loyal customer. This is Bree here. This is me, the owner, the founder. I want to say thank you. Here's 10% off your next order. What that's going to do, a bit of law of reciprocity, a bit of appreciation. They trust you and they buy from you again. They either buy there and then, or they put that code aside and they use it next time. So as you can imagine now, like, when you speak to your prospects on a sales call, speak to them about, our goal is to not just set up ads. Our goal is to look at the whole customer journey from top to bottom. What process do we take people through? It's not just as simple as saying, here are the benefits of our product, buy it. No, we're different to other agencies. We actually understand what people want because we really look at the whole customer journey from top to bottom to even repeat purchases. So as you can imagine, that's extremely powerful. And other stuff that you can do, which is quite cool as well on a post-purchase level, is get people signed up to subscriptions. Okay, they already trust you. They bought from you. Cool. If we have a client before in the coffee industry and they had like a coffee subscription. That's great. You know, people buy coffee and they drink it every single day. They run out, they want to buy more. So great. Let's retarget people to the subscription model now. Let's get people on the subscription. So trust, subscription, you know, loyalty schemes all works really, really well. And one final thing on the discount. There's one more thing from a middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. I'm just thinking of. It was just on the tip of my tongue. It will come back in a second anyway. Okay. But oh yeah. Another thing that works really well, final one on middle and bottom of funnel, is, in regards to the payment objection. We have a client right now. It's a peak performance type business. It's like a biohacking sort of like accessory. Okay, quite expensive, £400-500. And because it's quite expensive, often people want the benefit, but they can't. You know, someone's getting an ad on Facebook, they don't want to spend 500 quid. So running out, if these clients have like Klarna or Clear, like or like payment, what do you call it, like payment plan options and stuff on their website, really powerful in retargeting. One of the clients we've got right now, our retargeting ad, it's not a discount code, it's nothing like that. It's literally simple, like the top line of the creative as well. And this wouldn't work obviously cold, but it does in middle of funnel. Top line of the ad creative is just pay across 4 equal payments, 0% interest. And it crushes, because we know, because it's an expensive product that's £500, people don't want to pay that all up front. The biggest objection the client told us they get is price. So we attack that in the customer journey, in the marketing. Sure, we could go and attack price with a 10% discount code. Sure, that could 100% work. But I don't think the issue is the fact that it's 500 down to 450 isn't going to make a major difference. It's still £450. If they can pay £100 a month over the next 4 months, all of a sudden then they can get more customers, and it's crushing for them, absolutely crushing. Our ROAS on the top of funnel is actually, it's okay. I think it's like a couple X, like 1 to 2X. It's not fantastic, but we're picking up so many people in our retargeting because we're attacking that customer journey. It works well. So yeah, really powerful. So what you could do, you know, just real quick in here, it could be like, as you can imagine, this is, you know, I've written that in 2 seconds. And in the headline, you know, you might have something like, thank you 10, description might be, okay, thrown together in 2 seconds, but you get the picture, right? And if I was actually being really smart here, I'd want to mention the 10% off code rather than just putting the code. So you might just put, you know, 10% off with code, thank you, whatever, right? But the point is here is, as you can imagine, if you've bought something, you know, you've got the founder. Other stuff that works quite cool here as well, post-purchase, is we've done some ads before where we've actually got a photo of the founder or the owner, even if they're not super involved with the brand, like an influencer brand, chuck them on the post-purchase and just say, hey, this is Brad, CEO of this company. Just want to say thanks for the business's 10% code. So it's just more personal, more relatable. You know, you don't have to speak about benefits, features, any of that stuff anymore. It's just loyalty focus. But not the best copy. I've written that in 2 seconds, but you get the point. Okay, really powerful. Let's combine this now. We're going to call this middle/boff. I'm going to show you the audiences that we've created here. So create audience, custom audience. This is where we can get super experimental with all this stuff. So remember, this is the source where you get the seed audience from. Customer list. Now you can upload a customer list, which would be customers, or you can upload a general email list. If people have got, I don't know, let's say I was running ads for a free workout guide and I got loads of emails, they're not customers. We don't want to target them in post-purchase. They're not customers. They've downloaded a free guide, but it's still people that have interacted. So you could upload a general email list, okay? That could be something that you could retarget. Website, okay? People that have added to cart, people that have visited the website, people that had, you know, people that have, you know, view content, all of that good stuff. And the simply way to do this is go in here. And honestly, size is important in terms of these retargeting audiences. So make them as big as humanly possible. Get yourself on 180 days on all web related stuff. And then for social media stuff, which is good, you can actually do 365 days, which is cool. Max out for your middle and bottom of funnel. Max yourself out, unless it's a huge audience. Like I said, unless you've got a celebrity client where it's like absolutely major, massive, all this stuff, then obviously the last thing that you actually want to do is go in. Everyone that's engaged in the last 365 days, 52 million people,
You don't need that. Then you can maybe segment and test 30 days against 90 days against 365 or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, it's just going to be 365. So again, anybody who engaged on Instagram, that's going to be an audience. Anybody who engaged on Facebook. So the key core ones are basically Facebook page, anybody who engaged with a Facebook page in the last 365 days, anybody who engaged on the Instagram account in the last 365 days, a general email list, okay, like a full email list uploaded, web visits last 180 days, and then you can, I still find it beneficial to attach in like view content 180 days and add to cart 180 days into these retargeting audiences. The reason being is, although all web visits should also technically fire on an add to cart, since iOS 14, when you have to select priority events because the matching might not be perfect. So if you've got a load of people added to cart and you don't select the audience add to cart, Facebook might not match up both the web visit and the add to cart. So you might be missing out on valuable traffic. So add in, web visits last 180 days, view content last 180 days, add to cart last 180 days, initiate checkout last 180 days. Okay, pop them all in there. And then the only other thing you can do is video views last, 180 days or something like that as well. You probably want to chuck a percentage on that though, people that have watched more than 50% of the video. So if I just like give an example, you could say, choose content type. So you could say like people who viewed at least 50% of your video, okay, in the last 365 days. So that could be another one. For the most part, those are the key audiences. Obviously, if you're running shopping ads or instant experience or catalog or app, obviously you could do all of that too. But for the most part, those are the core ones that you need to worry about. And then an ad level for that, again, how are we going to overcome rejection? So you could use the ClearPlay one. If it's an expensive product, pay now with 4 equal payments of $100. Use code GET10, check out now, urgency, scarcity. I really like, hey, I reckon, like we always used to like the copy, like something like, hey, I recognize you. I noticed you added to cart and check out. Here's discount code. Doesn't work as well now because you've got all of these other audiences inside of your middle of the funnel. But even a little, hey, I recognize you, or hey, check out now. Hey, check out now. Get 10% off of your order if you use code GET10. You will only see this discount code on the ad. Something more like that. Urgency, scarcity, get people to take action. Okay, really, really, really powerful stuff. But have a play around with your creatives and copies inside of this middle and bottom of funnel campaign. But that's essentially what you want to do. So we'll just start with our top of funnel evergreen. One very, 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 very important thing to note is that the days of testing a million audiences, a million ad sets are gone. The key thing now is to stack, but you want relative stack. So what I mean by that is, let's go inside this ad set, okay? What we usually recommend is we actually recommend a broad demo, okay? Which is basically just the broad demographic, a broad demographic audience. And this isn't an exact science, but 9 times out of 10, when we first take over an account, this is what we'll do. We'll do stacked interest 1. We'll do stacked lookalike audience. And then finally, if budget permits and we've got a decent amount of ad spend, then we might even start to do stacked interest 2, okay? So let me just jump into this, what I mean. Broad demo. We send all of our clients onboarding forms. A client might come to us and say, our ideal customer is woman aged 45 to 65. Broad, okay? Not interest, nothing. All you want to do in this ad set is literally the country, the age range, and the gender. Ideally, if it's not gender specific, if it's not age specific, or even location specific, we've got accounts where we leave this completely open besides potentially location. Facebook loves having data and space to play with. The audience size, I mean, look at this just inside of the UK, 45 million people. A lot of people to obviously sift through, but Facebook knows it well. So you're just giving it full control. And if you've got a high spending account, oftentimes it usually goes one or two ways. Either these broad demographics do not work or they absolutely crush. It usually depends on the data in the account, but it's always worth a test. And that's all that you want to do, nothing more. Stacked interest 1 and stacked interest 2, if you can do 2. So I'm going to give the example here. You go into detailed targeting. Let me use a gym as an example. So stacked interest 1, okay, might actually become, let's call this stacked interest, okay? So we might call it stacked fitness interest, and we actually might call this one over here stacked physical gym chains. So What do you do here? Okay, so we might have Anytime Fitness. Is that interest? Okay, perfect. You might have Anytime Fitness. Okay, what's another gym chain? Gym Group. Gym Group. 20, I don't know anymore, to be fair, 24/7 gym, if that, I don't know if that's one. Probably is that. There you go, Gym Fitness Run. Like, so the key here is their interests, they're different interests, we're stacking them, but they're overlapped. So it's physical gym chains. And then what we might then do over in this one, and by the way, you want to stack this with as much as possible. Like, honestly, as many as possible is great. And then you might come over to your stacked fitness interests. And then you might just have, well, first of all, something fitness. So physical, so you might have, Zumba fitness, men's fitness, or see, Crunch Fitness, that's a gym. I think these are a lot of gyms. So yeah, you might just do physical fitness, Zumba, men's fitness. You might do, bodybuilding, but then you might even do another stacked interest, which is bodybuilding related. So you do MyFitnessPal, counting macros, bodybuilding, certain like like, I don't know, Schwarzenegger bodybuilding competition, whatever you can actually do, right? Natural bodybuilder, female body. So then, as you can see, you're stacking interests on top of each other, but they're sort of somewhat related to each other. And that's how it can be powerful. And then in the stack lookalike, I'm going to explain the stack lookalike thing in a sec. But before I do that, I'm just going to give you context on what the lookalike things mean. So down here, you've got the percentages. Now, just for some really simple context, because I never understood what this meant. What does 1% mean? What does 2%? What does a 1% lookalike mean? What does that mean, right? United Kingdom here, there's about, I think, 50 million people in the UK. So when you target a 1% lookalike audience, it's the top 1% of that country. So now if you see this is 545,000 people, that's what the top, like 1% of people in the UK is 545,000 people. As you can imagine, if we do this to the United States, this is going to be a much larger number. 2.7 million. If instead we now do this to Ireland, this is going to be a much smaller number, 37,000, okay? So if I'm saying I want people, the lookalike source, I haven't actually properly selected it, but it could be a lookalike audience of people that have purchased, people that have purchased, basically. It's 1% of people in Ireland that look most like these people. So Facebook goes through everybody in Ireland and it selects the 1% of people that have the most overlapping data points with the people that have purchased, but they're cold. So it's a cold people. As you can imagine, this is really, really, really powerful. But there's one issue. 1% of the United States is 2.7 million. 1% of Ireland is 37,000 people. So usually when we're creating, do we do 1% lookalike? Do you do, 4% lookalike? Do you do 10%, 3%? Usually it comes down to the country in question. If it's a country like Ireland and it's a really small seed size where 1% is only 37K, you might want to go a little bit bigger and do 5, 7% lookalike audiences. With a country like America, you might stick at 1%. With a country like the UK, you might do 2 or 3%, okay? It's not an exact science, test it, but general rule of thumb, hopefully that sort of makes sense as to what a lookalike audience is, okay? So just to reiterate one final time, it looks at the base source, so I can say people that have purchased in the last 180 days, okay? I want to create people in the top 1% of Ireland that look most like this initial audience. Yeah, really, really powerful. So then back to the stack lookalike, what do you do? So I recommend you might do 3% lookalike of purchases, 3% lookalike of add to carts, 3% lookalike of web visits, 3% lookalike of email lists, 3% lookalike of social media engagers, stack them all in the same ad set. Okay, that's a stacked lookalike. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. That's what you want to target in the top of funnel campaign. And then finally, before we wrap up today's session and before your mind blows anymore and I overwhelm you too much, we'll just go into the final thing, which is the creative testing campaign. And then what we'll do is we'll leave the rest of these for next week's session. So creative testing. Very, very importantly here is you want to make sure that you've got the ad set spending on. Okay, so you want to turn off CBO. And the reason for that is you force it to spend, as I mentioned earlier in this session. Okay. So you go down here, you want to make sure you choose your budget on the ad set, not on the campaign. And then you force each ad set to spend that amount of money. So what you might do here, you might look at your top of funnel evergreen campaign, see what ones are working well. You might come in here, put a few related interests. Maybe you do a couple of physical location gyms, maybe a couple of fitness, maybe a couple of lookalikes. The audience, as long as it's somewhat targeted, doesn't need to be super important here. Once you create that audience, let's just really quickly do it. Let's just say we do Anytime Fitness. We'll do a couple more fitness interests, right? Zumba Fitness, let's just call it real basic. Let's just say that. Then what you want to do is you create your ad. So you might have your text, hello there. You might do some, you might have your hook. You might try, you might do feature to benefit. You might do call to action, testimonial style stuff, right? You might have, this might be ad 1. Okay, then all you want to do is you literally duplicate the ad set. So the ad set targeting remains the same inside the existing campaign. And then you just go to your ad level again, and then you change it. So you might change the copy, you might change the creative, you might change up the headline, you might add a single image, it might be a carousel, might be a video, whatever. And I am going to show in next week's session, what we'll do is I'm going to go through some specific copywriting techniques that really work well. I'm going to go through some specific creative things in terms of what to do from a creative perspective. And I'll go through a bunch of other stuff. But the key here, like I said, you want to force it to work. And I'm going to show you as well in an upcoming session exactly how to know if the creative testing is working. If it's not even getting sales, creative, what's really important when it comes to creative, you want to look at things like click-through rate. The click-through rate, if you've got a 2% click-through rate, that means out of 100 people seeing your ad, 2 people clicked it. 2% click-through rate's okay on Facebook, to be fair, not too bad. So that's pretty good. So if you've got a 2% click-through rate on one creative and another creative is getting a 0.75% click-through rate, but they're both targeting the exact same audience on the exact same spend level, as you can imagine, that shows that more people are clicking that creative, which is a good sign. So it's not always about, is it getting sales? In the creative testing, it's like, is it getting clicks? What's the click-through rate percentage? What percentage of the videos being watched? You can look at all of that stuff over here in your performance columns, which I'll show you how to do in another session. Okay. Really, really, really powerful stuff. But perfect. I hope you guys enjoyed that session. I felt like we went through a lot. I really hope it gives you like more of an understanding now in terms of when you're selling. If you enjoyed the session, please come to next week, because I've still basically got a full sheet here of stuff that I haven't even touched on. I feel like I've touched on that. You've got like the solid, strong foundations, but we've got some other really important stuff like iOS compliancy, like domain verification, conversions API, aggregated events, conversion objective optimizations as well. Like I'll be optimized for the right thing, proper split testing, good creatives, good copy, UTMs and third-party tracking. And then obviously activity levels and history inside the accounts and stuff like that. I really want to go through that, but I'll sort of give you guys your brains a little a break from today, because I feel like it could be a tad overwhelming of me just talking directly to you. Cool, good session. Anyway, smashed it. Hope you guys enjoyed that.
All right, so there we have it. I hope you found a bunch of value. This was part 1 of a 4-part series that I actually did in the mentorship program. So if you want to see the rest, again, all the information on how you can join is down in the description below. I highly recommend you get in before this 3.0 launch, because yeah, the amount of stuff that we're adding is absolutely game changing, and it's going to make it literally impossible for you to not succeed providing you take action. So check out all the links down below if you want to grow your agency, and if you're interested in checking out another video, click here. I'm sure you'll love it, and then click here to subscribe.